Hi, and welcome to the first of many vlogs rewinding authoritarian states and 20th century wars. Today's vlog will be reviewing the very famous authoritarian leader Adolf Hitler. Hitler was officially elected in January of 1933 to be Chancellor of Germany. However, he remained outranked by Hindenburg, who regarded Hitler as the little bohemian corporal. Despite this, Adolf Hitler rose to power in 1934 by being the leader of the National Socialist German Workers' Party, better known as the Nazi Party. How did he rise to power? Well, let's look at all the factors. 1. The Reichstag fire. On February 27, 1933, the German parliament building burnt to the ground. Who was responsible remains a mystery, however it was blamed on Marius van der Lubbe, who was a Dutch communist at the time. Hitler used this to convince the people that there was a major threat of a communist revolution in their country, which allowed Hitler to persuade Hindenburg to pass the law for the protection for the people and state. This ended freedom of speech, association, and press. 2. Election success. Hitler called for fresh elections where he used his new powers to make life difficult for non-Nazi candidates. This increased his share of the vote and gave his party more power. The Nazi Party gained 228 seats, with the next closest party only having 120. 3. Hitler introduced the Enabling Act, which allowed him to rule with no parliament. This rule was only supposed to last up to 4 years, however, once he had this type of power, there was no way to stop him. 4. President Hindenburg died on August 2, 1934. Hitler seized this opportunity to combine the office position of Chancellor and President and declare himself Führer of the Third New Reich, setting up his armies and making them stronger. Hitler had 3 major police groups: the SS, who were Hitler's personal bodyguards and ran concentration camps, the Opera, who were the standard police, and the Gestapo, which was the secret police. And lastly, the German people still felt betrayed by the terms of the Treaty of Versailles and thought having a strong military base leader like Hitler would allow their country to be taken seriously again. Hitler was in absolute power by 1936, and the country felt better with him. He was building a military called Luftwaffe, he was building back up the businesses and economy, and he had people feeling proud of their country again. Once Hitler had power, he had to consolidate it. He did this through propaganda and terror. Hitler used terror as a major way to consolidate his power. People lost the right to privacy as their mail was read, homes were searched, and telephone conversations were listened to. If anyone was found to be hostile towards the Nazi regime, criticize the Nazis or Hitler, or be problematic in any way, they would have the chance of being arrested, imprisoned, forced to work in a concentration camp, or even sentenced to death. However, you could still be targeted even if you were completely innocent. Hitler and the Nazis arrested and targeted anyone who was Jewish, Jehovah's Witness, habitual criminal, homosexual, political opponent, gypsy, disabled, or a beggar. These people would be arrested and sent to concentration camps. This led to Hitler killing 6 million Jews, which is better known as the Holocaust. Does this sound familiar to any other dictator you know? If you guessed Stalin, you're right. During Stalin's reign, 7 million citizens and 3 million prisoners of war were killed. But back to Hitler. Once Hitler had gained and consolidated his power, he used foreign and domestic policies to build the bigger and better Germany that he was striving for. Starting with foreign policy, Hitler had 3 main aims. Lebensraum, which was the plan to take more land to create a bigger Germany, giving German people more living space, having a greater Germany by reuniting all the German people that got spread out after World War I, and the Treaty of Versailles, which Hitler felt the treaty was unfair. Volksgemeinschaft, which was the people's community that agreed with Hitler and hoped to regain lost land by expanding the armed forces as well as uniting with Austria. Hitler achieved these aims through many aspects. Hitler withdrew from League of Nations and Disarmament Conference in 1933 and signed a 10-year non-aggression pact with Poland in 1934. In March of 1935, Hitler announced the expansion of his army, which was now 550,000 troops in German air forces. With Hitler feeling more confident, he supported Italy in 1935 when they attacked Ethiopia, ending Germany's international isolation, and eventually leading to Germany's remilitarization of the Rhineland in 1935. In 1937, the Anti-Comintern Pact is signed by Italy, Germany, and Japan, which gave Hitler full support from 2 major powers. And in March of 1939, Hitler broke the Munich Agreement, which stopped him from invading Czechoslovakia and invaded the rest of Czechoslovakia anyway, with May 1939 being the month where Italy and Germany signed their Pact of Steel. Now that we've covered Hitler's foreign policy, let's move on to his socio-economic and cultural domestic policies. Hitler set up the National Labor Service, which was put in place to help unemployment within Germany come to an end, as well as his Guns vs. Butter to focus on improving the military as well as agriculture. And for cultural, Nazi youth groups were also put in place so boys could be ready for the army and women and girls would be ready to become housewives. The main objective of Hitler's domestic policies was to get everyone under the Nazi regime. With all of Hitler's efforts, he was able to gain total control of Germany and reach many of the goals he set in place. Thank you for watching History Rewind, and see you next week.